Okay, we're here at the Legacy Flight Museum. We've got the new edition. I've been working. This is my first time actually getting to see the Caribou up close and personal. There's the Flight Museum hangar right behind us to give you an idea of the size and scale of this thing. Look at it in comparison to the size of the hangar. It is absolutely massive. "35-foot tall tail, taller than our hangar. Wingspans wider than our hangar door. Huge Vietnam era aircraft. A couple of radial engines. Has high float tires designed for landing off airport or on unimproved airports, as they call it in the aviation world, and pretty well operate in less than 1,500 feet, even fully loaded. Built by de Havilland out of Canada. Same people who build the Twin Otters and the Otters and the Beavers. There was a newer version called the Buffalo that had turbine engines, although a few of these have been modified to turbine engines. Have a couple of Pratt & Whitney engines on them. Mismatch on the tail because we got this out of the Willow Run facility in Dayton, Ohio, and it was sitting in the Willow Run factory where they built B-24s at the Yankee Air Museum. And anyway, the tail had been beat up, so we had to pull the tail off of another Caribou and replace it. That's why there's the mismatch, the desert camo instead of the green camo. This is actually serial number 2. Number 1 was destroyed in stress testing, so this is the oldest flying version of this plane as serial number 2. See the big low pressure, high float tires for landing on unimproved strips, grass strips, probably usually gravel strips, that type of thing. Big enough in here to fit a couple of old Willys Jeeps. You got the crew seating. You bring down the little hammock seats as military guys are used to. You drop down. See, up here we've got the upper portion of the back hatch, and then the lower portion can drop down, and then we put a couple ramps on that, and you can go ahead and drive your Jeeps on up in here. It's pretty much the C-130 of its time. Rather, the C-130 is the Caribou of its time. Let's see here. Yeah, just big, spacious, open airplane. I'm gonna duck into here, take a look at the cockpit. They got a big skylight in here, but they give us lots of blinds to help cool us down so we're not baking in here. Like most de Havilland products, they have the throttles hanging, props, and the mixture all hanging from the ceiling. Landing gear handle right there. For such a big, complex airplane, very simplistic. Working on how to get up actually have to have a ladder in here to get up. There's actually walkways on top of here. Up on the center, there's area with a little extra grip. It's reinforced. Look at the size of this thing. Just towers above everything else. The de Havilland Caribou at the Legacy Flight Museum. We spent 3 years restoring this, getting it to flyable condition. Finally got it home. Just so you know, I was not the one who flew it back. Just flying a Mustang today, that's why we're wearing the flight suit. This is an interesting feature here. You can have your intercom and your mic switch down here on a little rocker. The width, I mean, that's huge wheel, gives you plenty of leverage to crank around this big huge airplane. On approach, and it all depends on what your weights are, but you actually use an angle of attack indicator to make your approach rather than just a fixed airspeed. And my dad was telling me that the approach when they come in to land is at 60 knots, which is not uncommon. I've also talked to another Caribou pilot who said sometimes it's even less than that, between 55 and 60, which is just absolutely impressive. I was just talking to a Cirrus pilot today. Cirrus is a pretty common private business aircraft, and he was saying, wow, 60 knots, we come in and land at he's usually at 80 knots when he comes in to land. Go ahead and lock this. You know, when we're landing planes like the Cessna 180s, backcountry airplane, that one's coming in at about 60 knots or thereabouts. You know, that's slow, not very fast at all. Cool thing, as they were flying this back from Ohio, they actually left this cargo door open like this to give a little bit better airflow. They were flying around at 10,000 feet. Very simple design. Landing gear goes straight up in. So on emergency extension, you can just catch the wind can catch the gear and just pull it straight out. Have a good day.